So basically the first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be practicing with a little bit more surfaces and you transferring those into a solid object. That's one. And then we're going to modify that surface to create a weird formed object like shown over here. Just a sample. So basically doesn't matter what you guys draw, but I just want to give you guys the gist of how these commands work. So you don't have to draw exactly what I'm drawing, but if you do, then great. So basically we're going to start with going to draw, modeling, surfaces, and there should be a planner. If you select that, you can draw a surface like shown. This is actually no thickness, and the area is shaded because my visual style is set at conceptual. So if you guys want to do that too, that's fine. But basically this surface allows me to, I can modify this as I go. One such option is, what you can do is go to modify, solid editing, surface editing, and you're gonna go to convert to nurbs or numbers. I don't know how you say that exactly. So select that. You'd select your surface. Now you can't see anything changed, but it did. It says on the bottom, select object to convert one. Yeah, it should have done it. So now if I go to modify surface editing, now I go to the surface editing option for the NURBS. Could show the CV. Enter. Okay, that's not going to. For some reason, I think it's because that surface, I can't do a flat surface like that. So we're not going to use this. Oh, sorry. Basically, what we're going to do is do a little bit more surfaces, even though you guys don't have the program. Sorry about that. So what I can do is I'm going to just use a regular circle. You guys can do this too. Or a square or a rectangle. Just make it a solid piece. Use a rectangle. And if you do extrude, you can extrude it out to be a block, or you can use the draw modeling block. And next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to explode this so each piece is separate. So I use the explode tool, which I can't find right now for some reason. So what you can do is just type in explode if you like finding the tool. Explode. It should explode into separate pieces. Right now they are still part of a solid piece. They're not actually converted to surfaces, to actual faces. So to convert them to faces, I don't know if you guys have that option, but what we can do is go to modify, go to 3D operations, and convert to surface. Which one is what we want to do. So we're going to select that, and we're going to select the actual whole object, even though it's exploded, and that would create surfaces. Now you guys can't visually see it right now because I got the wrong visual view. I think it should be right now. Oh, visual view. This changes colors. Oh, that's not good. So if you guys can see, now it's all slashed out again. What I had before was something like this, where there was no hatching at all. This one has hatching because it's a surface and it's exploded. Now the other option is you can select a solid piece and make it into a surfaces directly if you go to the same exact command, but it's a single piece right now. So if I move this, it moves the whole piece. That's my back. If I move this, it moves the whole piece. If I move this, it moves each piece separately. So it's like an open box. Yes, question. Your next option is if you do have actual object that has surfaces and you want to make it into a solid and it's enclosed, there's two different ways you can do this. One way is a simple way. You can go to Modify, 3D Operations, Convert to Solid. So it's pretty much a reverse play where you select the object and it. I got to change my del objects to 0 because see I have that piece right here. I got to change this to del because the original objects are left behind. Actually, okay. So if I do this again, go to 3D Operations, Convert to Solid, select this box, it converts it to a solid. You can see that. One big piece. Now the next part is, here's a exploded surfaces, and I want this converted to a solid. What you want to do first is go to Union, so you go to Modify, Solid Editing, Union, and you union the surfaces together. Again, you can explode them too if you really wanted to. Okay. And I select that object, go to Modify, and do exact same thing, Convert to Solid. That converts your object back to solid. So in case of, let's say you were designing a car body, and you wanted to play with the mesh, convert it back to solid, and so forth. But it does need a thickness to be a solid object. That's the only thing. Your next option, if I convert this back to a surface, is, let's say let me explode this too. So explode, and let's say I select a point and I can't do that. Another option, which is pretty cool, I'm just going to delete these. I don't know if you guys probably don't have that option, is the surface editing option, which allows you to select the surface. Actually, I think I got to convert these first. There you go. They're converted to surfaces. Now, you can, of course, like I said before, you guys can see if it's a surface by the hatching. The hatching exists, it's a surface. If it's a solid piece, it's of course a solid face or a solid object. This one has a face because you can see it's only selected the face, but it is still solid. So for this part, what you can do for 2011 is you can go to Modify, Solid Editing, and you can go to Convert to Nurbs. This option allows you to have points on your actual surface where you can pull. Well, it's hard to explain, so I'm just going to do it right now. So I select the object, enter. I think it should work. And then to see those that option got accepted, you got to show the CV. So, and at that point, it gives you 4 points because this is a square, doesn't have any specific points other than those 4. And you can stretch from that position. The good part about this new option in 2011 is you can also, by selecting the object, go to Modify, Surface Editing. You can go to NURB Surface Editing, and you could add or subtract actual additional lines where you can pull from your object. So if I add a CV line, it will look like that. So I drew a line. You guys can see I have 2 points here where I can pull from here too. And it doesn't look a lot, but there's an additional option for this. Again, I selected object, go to Surface Editing, Noobs, and I rebuild. Oops. So go down here, rebuild. What am I doing? Rebuild. Now the rebuild allows you to modify how many vertical and horizontal lines you have that you can move and point out and pull out, and at which degree. We're just going to change this to, actually we can keep it at 6. I'm going to change it to 8. You can preview it, so it gives you each point at 8 segments. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 8 down. You can change that, and you can change the angle. If I accept this, I'm just going to click enter, accept it, and at this point I can select these points, these blue points. I select ones, and then you can pull it out. Now this is where the 3D rotation comes in handy, and you can change your UCS because it pulls by the UCS coordinates. So you gotta make sure you adjust those when you're working with this. Change it left, and if I decide to pull this one up, you guys can see it's really taking a shape. Yes, question.
This reminds me of
So, again, you can readjust it, and then of course you can change your UCX again. It's the same exact concept of what we did in Mesh, where you have points, but in Mesh you actually have surfaces that you select to pull. This one you actually have points that you can extend out, which is maybe more beneficial for you or not, depending on your project, type of work, preference, so forth. So I'm just gonna play around with this. You guys can see how it works, kind of. Delete these. Oops. This part. I don't need that. You guys can see. Ooh, that's a pretty weird but unusual piece. So, and of course you can delete the lines too. So any of these lines that you don't want anymore to be pulled, or you want them to be joined together and pulled out, you just remove it by going to modify solid editing, surface editing, nurbs, remove CV. And if you're done working with this, all you have to do is go to same exact location and just hide it. It gives you the option to hide those blue points. So then you could actually work with your model without worrying about hitting those points and readjusting your actual surface. Right now, anything you do is you're pretty much moving it. You're not changing the actual shape or size. This is a great skill to use for if you have even if you're an art tech, you can use it for landscaping and designing your elevations by that. Or you can use clothing, like like an apron for something, for your desk or something. I don't know. It's really up to you what you want to use it for. But the main concept would be using it for car frame, body. So you can always modify each style, which is nice. I also seen people design toys, because toys are usually shaped in a mesh form, a little dolphin or some kid stuff, which is great because you can easily print it out on a 3D printer. So if anybody has want to do that, that's great. That is pretty much the aspect of what I believe you guys don't have, which is the surface editing option. There's trim and untrim and extend, but that's like self-explanatory. Now, can you guys tell me if you guys have sculpt? Yeah, you might not have, but try typing it in if it works. Let me know if it works. Yeah. Sculpt, another tool for the surfaces, is a great tool because it allows you to take. Let me show you first where it is. It's right here. You can type it in too. The best part about it is when you have an actual surface that's enclosed, but it has, a little flimsy outside or something that you don't want to keep. It's pretty much the intersect of solids, except it does it on the faces, and it converts it into a solid. To make myself more understandable about this is what I can show you guys. What you guys can do too is what we're going to do is draw a. Here, let me show it on the board.